Everyone, my name is Abhishek Jain and welcome back to the tutorial series on how to implement a SQLITE3 database with the help of a Python programming language. In the last video, we understood what happens when we try to delete a record from the parent table, right? And this is the code which we had written, right? So what we have understood in the last video, we understood what happens when we try to delete a record from the parent table, right? So we understood to control the deletion of our records from the parent table, we have four options: restrict, cascade, set null, set default, and no action. We have understood how we can utilize cascade, set null, right? Similarly, if you want to update the record from the parent table, then what happens? That is what we're going to understand in our today's video, right? So let's quickly change few things rather than deleting it. I just want to update a record, right? So for updating a record, I'm just gonna mention it's update parent table, right? And the syntax for update table is, if you want to understand how the select of delete update works, there is a video which I have published on YouTube, or you can just refer some other videos as well to understand that. So what I want to do, I want to update a stock table, right? And I want to set stock ID, right? Because stock ID is the column on which the child table is dependent, and I want to change it to 2, where my stock ID equals to 1, right? So why I have did in this way, because we will be just putting a very first record, and the stock ID would be 1, and I'm just trying to change that 1 to 2, right? So before actually I do it, I have to make some changes here. We have on delete set null, so let me just put it as cascade, because it's not something which we need to worry about right now, because our focus is to understand the update functionality, right? So I just override the on delete operation with a cascade, right? I'm not putting anything for on update, right? And the default behavior, I think that I have explained in the last video well. So this is no update restrict. It means that it won't allow us to update any record, right? So let me just quickly check whether we have any database or not. I think we don't have. Okay, so let me just run this. Okay, so now we have one record, right? And we have already created our update query. So let me, rather than executing this delete parent table, let me just update it, and let me just comment out this insert statement so that we don't get into an issue. Okay, so now what's gonna happen, it's gonna throw us the error when it is trying to update, and it is throwing us the error for a key constraint fail, right? So that is what happens, right, when we just try to update the record from the parent table. And this is the default behavior. Now if I want to control that, so how can I control it? It's pretty much same like what we had done for. So let's first start with on update. If I just create this table with on update cascade, what does it mean? It means that the moment you change the dependent column value in parent table, it is going to reflect back to the child table, right? So now I have to again, let me just uncomment this, and let me just create this table fresh. For doing so, I'm just gonna delete. Let me just close this, because otherwise it will keep complaining that database are being used, because I want to delete these two databases. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete them. Okay. So if I run this query this time, so now I have a 1 records, right? What happens if I just try to update this? Because now we have just created our child table with on update cascade. It means that the moment it's gonna be updated the parent table, that value is going to be reflected back to the child table. So let me just run this update statement this time, and now you can see I have changed this stock ID with 2. Earlier it was 1, now it is 2, and this is the data from the child table. Now here also you can see the stock ID has automatically been changed, right? That's fine. Now other thing, if I want to see what happens if I just make it set null, again I have to make some changes here. Okay, so I'm just commenting this update statement. Let me just delete that database as well, so that it won't complain. Saving here, I'm just putting the record. Right now we can see the first record inserted, its stock ID value is 11. And what happens if I just try to update this value? So now what I'm doing, I'm updating with 2, and this time I should get a none from the child table. See, we are just getting none in place of 2, right? So because we have updated and that value has been changed. So similarly, you can just use no action. As I explained in my last video, new action is pretty much same like the strict. Default means whatever the default value you want to set it at the time of creation, the your table, right? So at that point of time you can define the set default, right? So that is how you can just control the update as well, right? Now you can see on my screen, now I'm just combining on delete cascade on update set null, right? So in that situation, what would happen if someone tried to delete it, that is going to be delete from the child table as well, and from update operation it is going to set the null. So now you can just combine these combine the action on delete and on update, and you can just achieve whatever the logic you want to achieve, which is actually the expected which is actually expected out of your business use case. Maybe sometime you want to delete if you delete something from the parent table, you want to delete from the child table, sometimes you don't, right? So you can just control that the way your application logic demands, right? Similarly for update, you can just design the logic the way your business use case demands, right? But it's a very powerful phenomena, to ensure the data integrity and to reduce the data redundancy, so just try to just use this concept of referential integrity and make your code more readable, maintainable, and when it comes to data integrity, you can easily maintain the data integrity across the database object, right? So that's it from my side for this particular video. In the next video, I'm just gonna cover a very interesting topic which is known as creating a trigger, and that trigger is also a very interesting topic, and that has helped me in the past to just reduce the hundreds of lines which I have to write in a program to handle some automated operations, but by having a trigger, we can just create the program which will be utilizing a trigger which we are going to create with some SQL on the database side, so that we can just make some automatic action when any kind of specific event happens, for example, and that trigger is something which is related to more of deleting something, updating something, or inserting something. That's we're going to cover in a next video. So that's it from my side. If you have any feedback or suggestion, if you want my video to be more simpler, just feel free to put that suggestion and feedback into the comment section, and I would love to implement those into my upcoming or the future videos. Thanks for watching this, and as always, stay healthy and keep learning a new stuff.